short, it is Durbar. This is a community-based organization. Just to say one word about community-based organization is that all the executive members of this organization are at present sex workers or were in that profession at one time or the other.
Can I just interrupt? If you look at the first slide of my one and only presentation I made, you will find CBO. That's what he's talking about. Community-based organization.
So now, who are these women who are coming in this sex work? Now, most of these women who are coming to this sex work are from the very low socio-economic groups. Now, the problem is all women do not have very good skill in working out in various aspects. These women, they hardly have any skill. And even in the labor sector, there are very little choices, what to choose, which way to go. So many of them have taken up this profession. The problem is in Kolkata, just because we are in Kolkata, many of these women are engaged as domestic workers, even as fisherwomen, or in various other aspects where they hardly require any skill, any literacy or anything like that, and even in construction work. Now, among the migrants, what happens is, because most of you are from outside West Bengal. Now, the domestic workers, for instance, let me give you an example. They generally stay in the very rural areas, and right in the morning they come by train to Kolkata, carry out their activities, whatever it is, working in different houses, and then they go back home. Similarly, we have a group of sex workers. In fact, the sex workers, what we do, we have divided into two sides, so you can say. One is the brothel-based. That means they are living in the brothels, and the largest red light zone in not only in Kolkata, in India, but the whole of Asia is Sonagachi. So in Sonagachi, there are about 8,000 women in the profession who are staying over there. But again, there are 4,000 more who come in the morning, who stay, say, around 10-15 kilometers away from that place. They come to that place. All throughout the day, they solicit clients, and again at the end of the day, they go back to their houses. The problem thing is, the main problem they are facing, which I think all of you would understand, is stigma. When they go to hospitals, the first thing say they are having some health problems. And as doctors, we generally ask them, what is your profession? They are unable to say that I am a sex worker. But there are many diseases which could be an occupational disease which is attached with that profession. So because of the stigma, because of the discrimination, they are unable to speak out of their profession. Now, what we did is, as Sir introduced, it was in 1992 when we started off the whole program. At that time, it was just a health program and health intervention program. We started in 1992. Now the thing was, how it all started is, we set up a clinic over there inside Sonagachi, and we selected 12 sex workers to work as peer educators. If I go and sit there as a doctor, if any one of you come with me as a nursing assistant, no sex worker would come to us. But what we did is, from Sonagachi, we picked up 12 girls, 12 women, who were very popular in that area. They spoke to the other sex workers, they brought them to the clinic for all their just health checkup, medical checkup. And at that time, what we did is, we started doing a baseline survey among them to find out the rate of HIV, the prevalence of HIV in that area, the prevalence of other sexually transmitted infections, and the most important of all was the condom use rate among them, which I'll show you one graph of what it was at that time. Now, after doing all this, we started off with the clinic, and then we thought that it was not only the health aspect they were facing problems in, there were various other problems. So we thought, And as Sir said, Dr. Jana, he was there. He only gave the idea of collectivizing these sex workers together, and at that time he formed the organization called Durbar Mahila Samanwaya Committee. For those from outside, Durbar means something which is unstoppable. Mahila means women, and Samanwaya means a collective. Committee, I think I do not have to tell you. So it was in 1995. The whole organization was registered. The organization registered was DMSC. And at present we have around 60,000 members. That is all over West Bengal, because DMSC is working in the all over West Bengal. And we are also a member of All India Network of Sex Workers, who has a membership of about 1 million sex workers. That's all over India. Now, about Sonagachi, just 3 words we generally tell everyone. We just believe in 3 things, the 3 R's: reliance, respect, and recognition. Rely on the sex workers, respect them, and recognize sex work as work. This is the basis of the whole Sonagachi program. Now at present we are running 49 dedicated STI clinics. Just to tell you one thing is, when we started a clinic in Sonagachi and we just put up a board outside that this is an STI clinic, we faced one very big problem. The women coming inside, they were being watched by the clients who were standing outside. So they thought that since it is an STI clinic, and that woman is coming inside, that means she must be suffering from one STI or the other. So,
sorry, just explain what is STI.
Okay, sorry. STI is sexually transmitted infection. STI is sexually transmitted infection. So, if we write on the board outside the clinic that it is a sexually transmitted infection, means I am in short, STI clinic. And a woman comes in, the client sees that this woman is going inside to this clinic, he will presume that this woman is suffering from one STI or the other, so I should not visit that particular woman, even if I use a condom. That was a learning for us, and from then we changed everything, we changed the names, and we just made it as a health clinic. Any sex worker, any client can come to this clinic for treatment for STI or any other medical problems. If it is very serious, we then refer the case to the local government hospitals, and those who are from Calcutta, if there are any one of you, you know medical college is very near to Sonagachi on one side, and Arjikor Medical College is very near to Sonagachi. So now it's not Sonagachi. We are working in 49 areas. So we refer that case to the local government hospitals. Now under this program, what we are generally doing is, we are providing treatment for sexually transmitted infections, because we are getting the medicines free of cost from the National AIDS Control Organization, which is a body under the Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. We are getting free condoms for them, and we are distributing again free condoms, but now we are more stressing on social marketing of condoms. Like for 5 pieces of condoms, any 5 pieces we generally charge only 2 rupees. Because we are getting that from the distributor at that rate. We are not putting any profit or anything on that, and we are distributing at just 5 condoms at 2 rupees. And now at present we are covering almost 40,000 sex workers in this way through the 49 clinics. And at present we have a staff strength of 450, of which 80% are from the community members, which means either the sex workers or their children or their lovers, which we call babus. Lovers are like this in this way, that it is that particular client who would visit this particular sex worker whenever he comes to one red light area. Now, who are these peer educators, which I first said? The peer educators were selected from when we started the program in 92, we selected 12, and now at present we have 300 peer educators distributed in these 49 areas, of which around 12 are from Kolkata and the remaining are outside Kolkata in all over West Bengal. They were all given trainings on the basics of HIV. HIV, I think I do not have to explain.
No.
Okay. On basics of HIV, on the basics of AIDS. But the problem is, now what we are doing is, if every day if I go and tell these sex workers about HIV and AIDS, it becomes boring. So we are now giving these peer educators a little bit of training on, say, dengue. On the other, say, mosquito-borne diseases and whatever it is, might be malaria and all these things. And now, of course, we have added tuberculosis. So these basic trainings we are giving to the peer educators who are now again discussing with these sex workers. Now, how it is being done? This is the whole model which not only we are following, it's a model under National AIDS Control Organization. Each peer educator has to look after 100 sex workers. That means under each peer educator there are 100 sex workers, and for any problems or anything, for any referrals, these 100 sex workers would be contacting that particular peer educator. And what is the duty of the peer educator? To meet this 100 sex workers at least once in a fortnight and to bring them to the clinic if there are any medical problems or if there are any other problems, to take appropriate steps. There was quite a lot of police harassment, but now it has decreased because Durbar itself has taken up all the problems and they are dealing with the problems. Now, education for the children, I'll come within 1 or 2 slides of what exactly we are doing with them. This is another thing of how we are spreading our activities to everyone. We are organizing quite a lot of programs, along with, of course, there are street processions, sit-in demos, organizing debates and discussions also on topics related to sex work. And we invite academicians and everyone from everywhere so as to bring out what is their outlook about this profession. And in fact, we had organized a number of melas, of fairs as we call, of which one was the biggest one which we have organized. You know, there was a World AIDS conference in Washington. And in Washington in 2012, in Washington they made a rule that no sex worker would be allowed or would be given visa to enter Washington. And it was a World AIDS conference. So we did a parallel conference in that particular period of time. This was attended by only, we of course were there, but it was attended by sex workers from 140 countries. And that organization was done in a place very near to the Joe Bharati Kridangan, which is in Salt Lake. And there were around 5,000 total participants, only 140 countries. There were about 500 participants from outside and the remaining from India. And what we did, we had teleconference and everything during that period to show the unity among the sex workers. This was what I was telling you about if you can see, in 1992, the condom use rate was approximately 2.7%. Okay. The orange color line, just one or two figures I'll tell you. The orange color line is about the prevalence of various sexually transmitted infections, of which one of the main one is, I think many of you might have heard, is about syphilis. So for syphilis, we generally do a blood test, and from there we come to find out whether the person is suffering from syphilis or not. And the percentage was 25.4% at the initial phase in 1992. And HIV was 1.13. At the end, say around in 2011, these figures are, but later what we have done now, condom use has increased to more than 93 to 94%. There is still a gap of around 5 to 6%. The problem is these sex workers who have too much of belief on their babus, which I told you of their lovers. With them, you cannot make them understand the need to use condom with them. The second is about the STIs, the sexually transmitted infections. It has gone down, you can see, to 0.16%. So from 25.4 to 0.16% because of regularly using condoms and taking treatment properly. The HIV rate has gone up a little bit, but when you compare it with the other metropolitan cities in India, among the female sex workers, it is almost 30 to 40% in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and all. But in our case in Shonagachi, it's approximately only 5%. Now, there are two things which Durbar has done. The thing is, which I started with and which Sir explained to you, is a CBO, where we have involved the whole community to be a part of the program. And there, we have this community who has taken the ownership of the whole program and they are building the leadership so as to go on with this program. If you give it to someone who is not directly attached with the community, then it becomes difficult for them. But the community members, they understand what is our requirement and how to do it. And this whole program, there are two words which has been within the inverted commas. You can see one is creating enabling environment and community organizing and ownership building. And this has been accepted by the MGF, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Ford Foundation, EFID, and even other UN agencies who have all accepted this theme. We also started educational classes for these peer educators. The ones in the green apron, they are the peer educators. Even they could not sign when they joined a project, when they joined the whole program, they couldn't even write their names, forgetting about any other things. So at least from 1993, we started some non-formal education for them. The next success story is about our cooperative. The problem is when the sex workers, they earn some money. At the end of the day, where do they keep the money? If they go to a bank, all of you know when you go to a bank to open an account, there's one thing you are asked, what is your occupation? What will the sex workers say? Name of the spouse, they have nothing to reply, they have nothing to answer. And again, if they put the address as Shonagachi, so there is going to be another problem in the bank. So we started with a cooperative. And that cooperative, it was named as the Usha Cooperative. And presently we have more than 30,000 members. And the annual turnover is around $5 million US. This is, I think, or we at Durbar, we think is one of the most successful event in our case. The next issue is about a cultural wing. You know, many of these sex workers, they are very good in dance, drama and all these things. But how to express themselves? Again, the problem is when they go to the mainstream society, oh, you're coming from Shonagachi, so no chance. So they form their own cultural wing, which is called Komal Gandhar, and they have represented in various places. The farthest they have been to is Geneva. They have been to Geneva, they have been to Bangladesh, they have been to Thailand, that with the team as Komal Gandhar and with all the members being either sex workers or their children. There is an organization which we have, which we are stressing on now, is the organization called the Amra Podatik, which in English means We the Foot Soldiers. This is an organization of the children of sex workers. They are in fact at present only more functioning in 12 red light areas, and they are working with their mothers. They are taking part in various programs. Of course, their main issues is to fight against child abuse, child labor and child marriage. And with that, of course, to help their mothers get their workers right. Now, these are some of the activities like various rallies were organized, and if you remain in Kolkata for some time, you might find them in one rally or the other. We also have a sports academy. It's called the Durbar Sports Academy. And mainly we are concentrating on football because in Bengal football is very popular. Two of the sex workers' children, they have been in the national team for India, of course, and they have been to Poland to play in the World Cup. It is the Homeless World Cup. Then there are a number of sex workers' children who have been playing for the state team. And of course, one of the team, we had around 18-member team from the sex workers group, community members. They went to Denmark to play in the Dana Cup in 2016. What the sex workers now did is we had a parliament march in 2006 to fight against the ITPA, that's the Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act. Now, the thing is, just to tell you the story, it's just a one-line story. We booked a whole train, there were 20 coaches, 22 coaches in the whole train, and it was full of sex workers, the other community members, and a few of the staffs with which we went in 2006, and we took part in this rally, in this parliament march. We also have one more aspect, is the self-regulatory board. Now you have heard about trafficking. There are many women, many young girls who are being trafficked into sex trade. Now the self-regulatory board, which has been functioning in various red light districts, is to stop trafficking. Now what we do is we have a board which consists of 50% members from the community and 50% from the non-community. So since I told you there are 100 of the sex workers under one peer educator, the peer educators generally stay within that area. So whenever they come to find a new girl over there or a new woman over there, she is brought to this board. There is a little bit of interview, and after the interview there is a counseling session, and they try to find out first what is her particular age and whether she has been brought forcefully or not. So after that, you can see till today from the 33 SRBs, that's the self-regulatory board, we could rescue and reintegrate more than 1,082 minor girls and women, means unwilling women. So they have been sent back home. This is just in the last 5 years, the number of girls brought to self-regulatory board were 5,210. The underage girls, just to tell you, was 148 and 51 were unwilling women. So you can see the number of girls being coming to the red light areas. Only of that, underage is below 2% and trafficked women is only 0.01%. You can see the last figure, 5,011. They are continuing with this profession. Because after counseling, when we understood that she has not been trafficked to that area, if she wants to continue, she can continue with the sex trade. But she has to follow some basic rules and regulations. We tell them about HIV, we tell them about AIDS, and then that she would be using condom in each and every session. We have education program for the children of sex workers, and at present there are 37 educational centers where we have around 565 sex workers and 1,420 children studying. We also have a hostel for the children of sex workers, which is not very far from this place, but it's a place called Baripur, where we have 80 children of sex workers staying, both boys and girls, and they are studying in the local government schools. But it is this home where they are staying. Just a few programs which we have organized in 2001, 2004, 2007, 9, 11, 12 and 15 were the various fairs which I have told you. We also have a research and training institute where we have conducted more than 20 researches till date. 21 papers have been published from 2005, and we have on average 120 interns get placement in Sonagachi from various universities, both in country and abroad, and mainly we have people, students coming from University of Penn, Manchester, Manitoba and all these places. We are also working with the domestic workers. The problem is many of these domestic workers and construction workers, they face some sexual harassment in their workplace. So it's again Durbar who is intervening in all these places. Since 2 or 3 of you would be going to Moinapur, which is a rural place, we are also working in 2 very remote places. One is called Amla Shol and the other is Purulia. In Amla Shol, it's a place where in 2004, 5 men and women, it was around 3 and 2 like this, who died because they had no food to eat because of hunger. And from then we started working over there. We generally organize health camps once every month, and then we go there, we distribute food and we distribute clothes and all. But now that, again there we also have formed an organization of those people so that they can ask or they can build their own community. Now I think our main thing is like we are reaching out to during the election period, we generally reach out to these local aspirants who would like to stand up for us, MLAs or MPs. First is to repeal of ITPA, inclusion of sex work in the list of occupation, and the recognition of the self-regulatory board. These are 3 of our main agendas. I've already told you about the Durbar, the International HIV/AIDS Conference. I think that's in short and within 30 minutes.
Any questions? Yes.
I have a question about the children. I have a question about the children of sex workers. So how do they live the fact of the children of sex workers, and how do they evolve into life? Is it possible for them to find a normal job, or when they grow up, or how is?
The first thing is education. Okay. Now, if they stay within the brothel, it becomes very difficult for them to even study in the evening hours. So we have a hostel of our own. The mothers can put their children over there. Till now, around 20 to 25 students who have passed the class 10 and class 12 staying in the hostel. They stay in the hostel and they attend the local government schools. But after that, as far as job is concerned, we have organized vocational training for them, like driving, car driving, electrical work, TV repairing, mobile repairing, and for the girls, the most in demand is they are generally going for other types of work, but these, at least from there, some of them have got good jobs. It's not that we generally have a little bit of problems with the girls, because if I might be 1 or 2 girls might be again put back into the profession. But till now we didn't face any such problems. Okay. So many of them, these girls are generally working in different parlors. Beauty parlors, and we have arranged for their courses, that beautician course also for them. And in fact, they are making quite a lot of money through that course. But now there is, you cannot see each and every child is being in that way, but still we are helping them out, and a whole lot of them are very much interested in football, and many of them are playing, and 1 or 2 have joined the higher clubs also, the good number of clubs. Yes, please.
Are you supported by the public opinion, or do you maybe receive accusations saying that you're encouraging the community, or how does the public opinion react?
Pardon me, the first part I don't get it.
Are you supported by the public opinion? Do you receive
support whom?
like, do they support your action, like, or is it something subversive?
Okay, public is supporting whatever you're doing. Okay. Whenever we organize all these programs, the Mahilas and the fairs, we have people coming from each and every state of the land. Whenever we organize a program and we have an inaugural session, it's a minister coming and inaugurating it. This is what you wanted to know? So it's each and every one. I wouldn't say again, there's a question mark that